Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Thank you, I appreciate you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well in this COVID pandemic situation. There are lots of things happening around, lots of news coming in. Some are very reassuring, some of the data are scaring, but we are yet to find a way out through this pandemic. We are yet to find a preventive treatment, a curative treatment. Until we are able to do that, the only way out is keep yourself safe. Try to avoid going out for unnecessary work and just try to follow the routine measures which has been mentioned, particularly in the form of washing hands and wearing mask. Alright, so now today we are going to talk something about hair. It's more of the scientific part of hair, and it is about hair transplant and PRP, platelet-rich plasma treatment for hair transplant. Now let's talk about hair transplant first. As some of you might be aware about it, hair transplant is a surgical method which is used to treat baldness. In hair transplant, hairs are implanted in the areas where people have baldness. Now, why person develops baldness? In most of the instances, in the bald areas, the hair follicle root, the root inside the hair, it is genetically programmed to be weak. In routine language, we call it as weak roots. Now, why they are weak? They respond to hormones in a particular way, so that when hormones start working on them, slowly they go on thinning out. And then the outer hair, which is long, slowly reduces in length, reduces in thickness, reduces in color, and then eventually a person goes bald. Now, in few bald areas, still alive inside, it's just that they are dormant. And because they are dormant, you start giving them medical treatment, and then you can again stimulate the root and again stimulate the hair growth out of it. But in many areas, the root are dead. So whatever you do, whatever amount of fertilizers you give, you cannot grow a plant back from a dead root. So you need to put in a new root, a new seed, which is called as hair transplant. In hair transplant, grossly, scientifically, there are two techniques: strip surgery and FUE. In strip surgery, from back of the head, the hair are taken. From that area, an incision is pushed. We take out a piece of skin from that area. We separate hair follicles one by one from that taken out piece. We dissect them one by one. And those dissected follicles, we put them in the bald area one by one. So that's a strip surgery. From where we have taken out the strip, that area is blank. So we stitch that area and approximate the skin edges so that the skin comes close to each other. In strip surgery, you have got a linear incision and you have got stitches there. Now in FUE, which is also known as follicular unit extraction, in that we don't have to take out a strip. We don't have to put an incision and take out a strip. In that, we individually take out hair follicles directly one by one and then implant them in front one by one. So the process of implantation is more or less same in both the techniques. The difference is taking out the hair, that how we take out hair from the back of your head. And depending upon that, there are two divisions. There are only these two techniques worldwide. Wherever you go, it's either strip or FUE. But there have been multiple names given to FUE. There are multiple brand names given to FUE. Lots of them, more than a dozen. But essentially, it is follicular unit extraction. So that's all that it is about. And people market it in different way, but no, it's FUE. So then how it differs from place to place? When the technique is so simple, you take out hair, you put in hair, and then you are done. Then how does it differ? How the results differ? So it's a surgery which differs. It's how you perform the surgery that decides what type of results you can expect out of a particular patient. I usually tell that this is a science along with arts. It's not pure science. Definitely science is there. You need to be good with taking out the good quality grafts and putting them back in place with good and healthy grafts. But then at the same time, the roots which are taken out and put them back in, it's art. So it's not only science, it's art along with science. And that's why you need to have a little bit of artistic hand to perform this procedure, or for that matter, any of the aesthetic surgery procedures. Now, coming to what makes a difference. There are different ways, as I mentioned, in which a FUE procedure can be performed. At many centers, there are qualified doctors who are performing the procedures. They have been trained in doing the procedure and they are doing it regularly. But at the same time, at many places, there are not qualified doctors. In the place, there are team of technicians, team of wandering technicians, which are called in to perform the procedure. So, the person who is doing your surgery is not a medical graduate, is a technician who has been worked with some other hair transplant surgeons, and then, excuse me, I just got, yeah. Guys, you can hear me, right? Am I audible? If someone can reply me. Just a second. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Yeah. Probably who have been right now, put some part of the presentation. Talking about good hair transfer and not so good hair transfer. So always make sure whenever you're going for an aesthetic procedure, you're going a good set of has got enough experience of doing that particular service. A window. They cannot assure you the quality, which subsequently is divided into number of grafts taken out, number of grafts implanted, number of grafts grown, the way your hair are grown, the quality of your hair, and like that. So, yes, hair transplant process is simple, but make sure that you are going ahead with a good process. Now, what makes a difference? The extraction process itself, there are different types of tools available, different types of machines available. So you need to select a place which has got the best quality equipment to perform the surgery. The equipments which are gentle to your roots, which can take out your hair graft properly and implant them back in place properly. There are different implanters available for implantation. There are different no-touch drop techniques for implantation, which are very soft and gentle resting hair roots, which they do not damage your hair roots at all. This makes us sounding a little more scientific, but those who want to go ahead with hair transplant surgery would have come across these somewhere. So that is what you are looking at. Just a second. Let me look at the questions. Yeah. Yes. So that was about the hair transplant surgery, that how you can decide and how you can proceed about it. With hair transplantation, it helps you to grow new hair, but it doesn't help preserve your existing hair. For that, you need to continue with your medical treatment on regular basis. So you need to keep it in your mind that along with hair transplant, you need medications to preserve your existing hair. Now, when we are talking about the medical treatment, what all things you can do for your existing hair? There are multiple things in the treatment part of it. Of course, there are many home remedies and dietary modifications and lifestyle modifications. But when we talk about the treatment part, there are multiple things. Tablets and lotions, they form the mainstay of the treatment, which is commonly used, minoxidil lotion, finasteride tablet. They definitely form one of the mainstay for preserving your existing hair. And then comes some features. There are PRP treatments, platelet-rich plasma treatments. There are laser treatments, low-level laser therapy treatments, mesotherapy injections, stem cell treatments, adipocyte treatments, and multiple more. Some are documented, proven, effective, others are not. So you just need to go ahead with something which is effective enough. Medication play a role. Finasteride and minoxidil definitely is one of the gold standard, which any patient suffering from androgenetic alopecia can start and continue. They're safe, they're effective. There are some concerns about the side effect profile of the medicine, but you need to discuss it with your doctors, whatever concerns you have, so that you can go ahead with the treatment accordingly. Coming to some procedures, which are effective to many of the patients and which give results in some of them and do not give in some of them. One of the commonly done thing these days is PRP, platelet-rich plasma. Now, what is PRP? PRP is a component of your own blood. You routinely call it as plasma. So blood has got red component and yellow component. That yellow component is plasma. In this plasma, you have got cells named platelets. These platelets, they have a function of basically clotting your blood together. But at the same time, they are filled with growth hormones. They have lots of growth hormones inside them. So whenever you activate these platelets, they start releasing those growth hormones, which are kind of fertilizers for the tissue. So the whole concept of PRP is that you take out the blood, you separate plasma out of it. That separated plasma, you activate the platelets, and then you inject it back in the area where you need your growth. It has been used at multiple places in medical science. It has been used in knee pains or joint pains, ankle pain. It has been used in gynecological procedure. It has been used as post-operative measure for scar reduction or better cosmetic scar. It's also used in hair. So in hair, when we use it, we inject it in the area where one has thin or bald areas. And how it works is, all those growth factors, when they are injected near your hair root, they work as fertilizer. The role is as good as fertilizer. It helps your existing alive roots to grow, existing alive seeds to grow. But the seeds which are dead cannot grow. So many times people get very good improvement with the help of PRP injections. Those are the cases which has lots of thin hair throughout the scalp or which has lots of alive roots inside, which has got a recent onset of hair fall or recent onset of baldness. So those are the cases in which the roots are dying but they are not dead yet. You start giving them fertilizer and then you start improving them. But then the cases where roots inside are dead, you cannot really grow them back with the help of PRP because PRP, as I mentioned, is fertilizer. It's not seed. In injections, you cannot help. That's why you have to put in root or seed to grow your hair. So this is the reason why people find different response mechanisms. Now remember, PRP is your own blood. It's everything which is there in your blood. So if you have irregularities, it is going to reflect in your PRP. If you have some nutritional deficiencies, it is again going to reflect in your PRP. So you don't want to inject all those irregularities near your hair root. So for a PRP, it's very important that your dietary needs are well met, or you have enough supplements so that your blood or your plasma component is healthy enough to give good growth to injecting it. It is routinely performed for hair fall prevention. Lots of times in female cases, it helps with hair fall, it helps with texture and length of the hair, but it is not documented yet or scientifically proven yet that it works in all the cases. The evidence is yet pending. So that's why PRP is, it may work, it may not work. Give it a try and then you'll learn that how it goes with you. Therapy, it's an injection procedure, so definitely there is some degree of pain involved with it. There are different measures that we do so as to avoid the pain sensation with the patient. The usual time taken for any PRP procedure is around 1 hour, and that's all which you need to give. Sometimes once in a month, sometimes a little more frequently. As I say, there are no defined protocols. Every doctor go ahead with his or her own experience. But yes, we are still going ahead with it and finding improvement in few cases. Many times we also combine PRP along with hair transplantation surgery. As I mentioned, it is a solution which is full of growth factors. So it is combined with a surgical procedure. When the PRP solution we apply on the donor area, recipient area, it helps with healing. The eventual post-operative process becomes very comfortable for the patient. It also helps with both your new implanted hair. So that is another benefit which we get from PRP when we are combining it along with hair transplant procedure. With PRP, there are some other hair fall treatments also in the name of laser treatment level laser therapy and mesotherapy. I'll talk about mesotherapy first. Now, what is mesotherapy? Mesotherapy is delivery of any drug in the mesoderm of your skin. Skin has different layers, one of which is mesoderm. So whenever you are delivering any kind of drug on any body area in the mesoderm, it is mesotherapy. When we are doing it in the scalp, it is mesoscalp or mesotherapy for the scalp. So in that, you are delivering a solution of the drug directly near your hair root. The drug is ready-made. The concept of PRP and mesotherapy is same. In mesotherapy also, you are delivering a drug so that you can get as good as a fertilizer for your existing hair to grow. But in mesotherapy, the solution is ready-made. It's available in the form of a medicine. While in PRP, own blood which we are using. Now, mesotherapy, there are again different ways of delivering the solution. Either you can inject it directly, you can use mesogun for that, you can use derma roller with desired depth for that. Proper data is still lacking. Mesotherapy is into practice since many years now, but still proper evidence that it works have not been able to reach to that conclusion. But a doctor, depending upon his or her expertise or experience, practices mesotherapy routinely when they are practicing hair fall treatments. There are different meso solutions available in the market. Result depends to a great extent upon the type of solution that a doctor is using, because each solution has different combination, and that again is chosen depending upon a doctor's experience with their patients. There are some meso solutions which are available in the name of stem cell. So let's talk about, so that was about mesotherapy, cell a little. So what is in body cell and regenerate itself, anything else. Our human embryo, when baby is getting formed inside mother's womb, they have cells. So that they make different organs out of those stem cells. They increase in size, multiple cells are made out of it, and then the whole human body is made. In adult body, we don't really have stem cells available in most of the organs. They're available in adipocytes, the fat cells, the bone marrow cells. But apart from that, most of the organs, they are done, they are made. They cannot remake themselves. If your limb is cut, if your hand or legs are cut, you cannot regenerate your leg again. Now you cannot regenerate your fingers or your legs again. The same is applicable with hair. But luckily in hair, there are stem cells present which are responsible for suckling of the hair. Normally, a hair follows a cycle of growth and fall. We usually call it as Bahar and Patijhar. Again, Bahar and Patijhar. It goes on passing through that cycle again and again. They are able to grow again just because of these stem cells inside their hair roots. Now, by some techniques, if we can separate those stem cells out of the roots, grow them in laboratory, create multiple hairs out of it, and those multiple hairs, we implant them back in place, then one hair, we can get hundreds. That's the whole concept of stem cell treatment. But till date, it is still experimental. Now, concrete has been achieved with stem cell treatment. It's very much in the laboratory. There are some positive results achieved in the laboratory, but it's not available for human trials yet. Probably on the horizon, maybe next 5-7 years, it should be available, but we are really not sure. Unless it is done, we cannot really say that yes, it is successful. So stem cell, it's not available. So then what is available in the market? There are multiple meso solutions which are marketed in the name of stem cell and given the name that we are doing stem cell treatment. Sometimes PRP is also wrongly labeled as stem cell. Remember, stem cell is a cell which can multiply itself and generate new hair roots. PRP doesn't do that. PRP has growth factors. It's a fertilizer. But stem cell looking at as so sometimes PRP people call as stem cell, which is not stem cell. Our fat cells have stem cells. So sometimes adipocytes are used as a source of stem cell. But those stem cells can support growth of hair. They cannot really make hair out of a fat cell. So the real stem cell, we still have to wait. Is definitely the medical treatment, the PRP injections, the mesotherapy injections, and then there is low-level laser therapy. So low-level laser therapy, it's a type of light treatment which delivers light of a particular wavelength near in your scalp, near your head. Now this wavelength light, it's not like routine ablative laser, the routine lasers for laser hair removal or any other lasers that you are going for. They are ablative. They destroy a particular tissue. While low-level laser therapy doesn't do that. It stimulates a particular tissue. So the type of stimulus that it gives, it can help your hair roots to grow, in length, thicken, improve in color and texture. Again, low therapy, you have multiple sorts of responses. Few patients very well with it in the form of improvement in hair fall, prevention of your preservation of your existing hair, improvement in hair thickness and texture, and having more hair. There are few patients who doesn't respond at all. So it varies from person to person and the quality that you are starting with. It's available as in-clinic use. When you go to a particular clinic and get it, your time required is half an hour, 45 minutes for that. Or it's also available as home use. Some home use laser devices available in the form of caps and helmets, which you can purchase and keep at home and keep on using it depending upon the frequency which is mentioned with the device. So these are the medical treatments of hair. Now in the medicine part, finasteride and minoxidil, and apart from that, nutrition. Vitamins play a very, very important role in hair strength, which cannot be underestimated. Many times in today's lifestyle, people being so conscious about their health and their diet and their looks and everything, they are quite kind of punctual on what they are eating and what they are not eating. But even then, the right combination of things which are required for proper absorption of the food have eaten, proper digestion, and so that the end product, the end vitamins, the hair root properly, you need to match up that combination so that your hair gets required strength. So many times in your hair treatment regime, vitamins is an inherent part of the treatment. I've seen some of the talks on this platform. It was mentioned in detail, so I'm not really covering that much up. But you need to remember that food is something which is going to give nutrition to your growing plants. So you cannot compromise with your food. At the same time, lifestyle. A routine, general, healthy lifestyle habits, you can say. Stress-free, if it is possible. We are aware that it's not always possible, but whenever you can avoid, try to avoid. Sleep pattern, very important. Timely and timely wake up. Our body, it's a machine which has a cycle designed inside it. It's called as diurnal variation or circadian rhythm of the body. So the body's hormones, they are more active during your daytime and they kind of quiet down during your nighttime. Nighttime is a time for your organs to rest and relax. The body can detoxify itself and remove all the toxins and the dead things and whatever bad material it has gathered during the day. So at night time, you need to rest, put your body to sleep, 10, 11 after that. But if you make your body work after that, or if you keep yourself awake after that, then your body is confused because it has to work and at the same time it has to do the detoxifying action so that it's not able to do the detoxifying action properly. So a timely sleep pattern and timely wake up pattern goes a lot for overall healthy body and definitely for your hair, because hair is a growing tissue of your body. It's growing continuously, your hair and your nail. So any kind of disturbance in your body's machinery is immediately reflected on your hair and your nails, and then comes your skin. So if you are able to follow these general lifestyle rules, timely food, timely sleep, more of homemade food, less of outside food, and then of course the medical treatment whenever it is indicated, you can get very good and healthy hair out of it. And whenever you need a transplant, make sure that you go ahead with a proper place. The center should be good, hygienic and clean, equipped with the necessary equipments that are required for the procedure. You undergo your transplant surgery by performing it routinely and not just team of wandering technicians who are not accountable for the results when they finally come. Yes, guys, so this is all that I had to say about hair transplant and PRP and some other part of medical treatment. If you have some questions, then probably we can go through it. Someone asked, can you get a hair transplant if you are completely bald? No, you cannot. You cannot, because you need your own hair to transplant. So patients who are completely bald, we simply say no, don't go ahead with it. Just go for some wig or some artificial hair replacement, but not hair transplant. There are cases with big areas of baldness where they still have some donor hair available at the back. In those cases, we still venture with transplant for what? Big body hair, big body hair. We take chest hair, legs and hands. So practically all body hair can be utilized to add up to the numbers so that we can cover a bigger area with enough numbers. But for that, scalp hair is one of the basic requirement, because quality and texture of scalp hair is the most natural hair that you have on your head. Rest of the body hair, they don't have same quality and texture as your scalp hair. So just relying upon body hair and doing a transplant, no, it's not a very good idea with very good aesthetic outcome. So we need some hair. Complete baldness, no, we cannot go ahead with it. Yeah, another question is stem cell hair transplant safer and efficacious than hair transplant? Right, so now the scientific term is only hair transplant. It's nothing like stem cell hair transplant. Hair transplant is hair transplant, two techniques, strip surgery and FUE, and that's all about it. Rest everything around that is marketing gimmick. So stem cell hair transplant, stem cells themselves are exploratory. They are not out for human use, for public use. So there is nothing like stem cell hair transplant. But sometimes adipocyte stem cells, the fat stem cell, they are combined along with hair transplant. In that, a person's fat is taken out, maybe from the belly or from the hips or buttocks. Some portion of fat is taken out, maybe 40-50 ml. The stem cells are separated out of it, activated and injected back along with the hair transplant. But these stem cells, they help with the growth of the hair. They don't really multiply your hair the way a stem cell is supposed to do. So there is nothing like stem cell hair transplant, but few people do combine adipocyte cell transfer along with hair transplant. There are some benefits, but there are factors also associated with it. There are some embolism chances, some fatal complications. So I would say that unless you have proper information about the technique and about the doctor, don't go for it. The standard transplant procedure is something which is standardized all over the world, not just here, all over the world. So yeah, stem cell transplant may be another marketing gimmick. Does leaving the conditioner in longer means it's working harder? So conditioner, yes, you need to keep on for 5 minutes. Some of the conditioners you need to keep it for 10 minutes. Some of masks hair for 10 minutes or so. But you don't need to keep it for that, because then it softens your hair shaft too much. So you need to monitor the texture on, and you just wash it off. That's all which is required. And don't touch your scalp with it. Don't allow the conditioner to touch your scalp skin. Just allow it on your hair shaft. What causes hair loss in men? Multiple reasons. Most genetic, somebody in your family, mother or father side, mother side more commonly, your maternal uncle, mama, nana, or your father side, your uncles or your uncle's kids or whosoever. That's one of the biggest reason. And then lifestyle, diet, stress, multiple things can affect. When remove scabs or crust after hair transplant, your operating surgeon should have guided you with that. That's one of the basic instructions hair transplant. Is hair transplant really costly? It depends how big or small a case. Can I take shower after hair transplant surgery? Your surgeon should inform about that. Are PRP or stem cell treatment safe in children, or we go for hair growth topical? In children, we usually don't go for, first of all, stem cell treatment. It's not available for human use, so forget about it. It's not. Coming to PRP treatment, most of the times kids don't need it. There are other methods with medical and medicine topical that kids are able to prevent hair fall and grow them back again. So you don't really need PRP or stem cell treatment in kids. Stem cell, forget, it's not there for practical use, so don't get trapped by that. Which ingredients in hair serum product is good after hair transplant? It depends. We usually don't recommend any of the fancy products. Do hair transplant leave a scar? It does. So depending upon the technique that you're undergoing, in a strip surgery, you're undergoing a linear excision. So in that, the scar is a linear excised scar. But in FUE, you are not excising it linearly. You're taking out individual follicles one by one. So you are definitely leaving a scar where you are taking a follicle. But it's a very tiny scar with very small punch size. So because it is tiny, it's not visible. So FUE, it's not a scarless procedure. It's just that the scars are not so visible. Does daily hair wash is a good or not good practice? If it is needed, then yes. But if it is not, maybe alternate day or twice a week is okay. If you are doing gym or having lots of sweating every day or having field visits, then yes, you should wash your hair at night before going to bed so that you cleanse it all, whatever is dirty. Does PRP really work for hair growth? Already discussed. Can I use simultaneously hair oil and minoxidil solution every day? Hair oil prevents absorption of minoxidil. It forms a kind of thin layer on the skin, and then minoxidil is not able to penetrate through the hair. So if you want to use it, you need to keep a space of 3 to 4 hours in between two of them. But yes, you can use them both together. Nothing can be much about it. Probably drinking more water may help you. Try it out. Which is it depends. They both are good in good hands, but FUT was the initial technique of hair transplant, and FUE is something which is practiced recently. That's one of the most recent. Lots of advancements are being done in FUE, which are not FUT. So it depends, depending upon the doctor that you are going to research. Is hair oil really helpful in hair growth? No scientific basis so far. One can give it, there is no harm. But at the same time, there are no scientific outcomes that it is helpful too. Lots of them. In males, it's more than 80%. I'm happy with hair transplant. Thank you. All right. So that was all about it that we wanted to discuss today. If you have some questions, and then if you want to ask them, probably you can leave me a message or an email. It's my name, Dr. Ragini Ghia @gmail.com, and I'll be happy to reply you on that email ID. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.